It is Monday morning. You are standing in the office break room, or maybe you are at a family dinner, and someone inevitably asks the question, "Did you see the game last night?" You freeze for a fraction of a second, while millions of people spent their entire weekend screaming at their televisions, painting their faces, and feeling emotionally destroyed because 11 strangers lost a game. You felt absolutely nothing. You probably force a polite smile. You nod. You vaguely agree, hoping they quickly change the subject. But internally, you experience a quiet isolation. You wonder if you are missing a fundamental human gene for excitement. You have probably been called boring, arrogant, or disconnected. That is a profound biological illusion. You are not missing anything. Your brain is simply wired to reject mass tribal hypnosis. What you are experiencing is not a lack of passion. It is a highly selective allocation of your emotional energy. According to behavioral psychology and neuroscience, not caring about sports is not a personality flaw. It is a reflection of a completely different cognitive architecture. Your nervous system does not require manufactured conflict to feel alive. In the next few minutes, we will explore the clinical reality of why you genuinely do not care about sports. We will dissect the exact neurological mechanisms of dopamine and tribal bonding that the rest of the world is addicted to and why you naturally bypass them. We will expose the hidden reason why your psychological framework rejects the us versus them mentality. And most importantly, we will reveal why your lack of obsession is actually a quiet cognitive superpower. Write this down immediately. Your indifference to the crowd is not an error, it is an evolutionary advantage. Let us look at the raw architecture of the human brain. To understand why you don't care, we first have to understand why everyone else cares so deeply. For hundreds of thousands of years, human survival depended entirely on the tribe. If you were separated from your group, you died, period. Because of this, our brains evolved to reward tribal belonging with massive hits of oxytocin and dopamine. We are biologically desperate to be part of an us that is fighting against a them. Modern society has largely eliminated the daily threat of rival tribes attacking our villages. But the primitive brain still craves that specific neurological cocktail, interprofessional sports. Sports are not just games, they are simulated tribal warfare. They are a perfectly packaged, commercially sanitized mechanism designed to hack the human survival drive. When a fan puts on a team jersey, their brain actually blurs the line between their own identity and the team's identity. This is a well-documented psychological phenomenon known as BIRGing, or Basking in Reflected Glory. When the team wins, the fan's brain releases a massive surge of testosterone and dopamine, exactly as if the fan had personally fought and won a battle. When the team loses, cortisol floods their system, creating genuine grief and stress. They use the word "we" when talking about the team. "We played great today. We need a better defense." They say "we." Even though they did not play, they do not own the team, and the athletes do not know they exist. They are extracting an artificial sense of achievement from the labor of strangers. This is where your brain diverges. This is where the friction happens. Your neurological wiring has a fundamentally different threshold for manufactured meaning. You look at the television screen, you see the ball cross a painted white line, and your prefrontal cortex, the logical, analytical part of your brain, simply overrides the primitive tribal impulse. Your brain looks at the event and accurately assesses, this outcome does not impact my physical survival, my personal relationships, or my actual life trajectory. Because your brain recognizes that the stakes are entirely artificial, it refuses to release the dopamine. You literally cannot force yourself to care because your nervous system sees through the illusion. This resistance to BIRGing means you are likely far more individualistic. You do not derive your core sense of self-worth from the collective victories of a massive group. You intuitively understand that watching someone else achieve greatness does not make you great. You require direct personal engagement with reality to feel a sense of accomplishment. But holding this cognitive stance comes with a heavy social tax. Because sports function as the ultimate universal icebreaker, the default language of modern society, opting out makes you an alien. You experience the subtle pain of social friction. When the entire room is cheering and high-fiving, your silence makes people deeply uncomfortable. They misinterpret your lack of interest as judgment. They think you are looking down on them. They assume you believe you are intellectually superior. To protect yourself from this judgment, you learn to mask. You learn the basic vocabulary of the game just to survive workplace conversations. You laugh at the right times. You deploy a psychological defense mechanism of polite neutrality. But living in a state of permanent neutrality is exhausting. You are constantly burning energy pretending to respect a tribal ritual that holds zero emotional weight for you. Here is where the narrative shifts. This is the truth you need to internalize. The fact that you do not participate in simulated warfare does not mean you lack competitive drive or passion. It simply means your passion requires a different, usually deeper, anchor. Think about where your mental energy actually goes. While millions of people are memorizing player statistics and debating referee decisions, what is your mind doing? People who are indifferent to sports often redirect that massive volume of cognitive bandwidth toward deep, specialized interests. You might obsess over mastering a complex skill, building a business, understanding philosophy, creating art, or solving actual problems in your own life. You are drawn to environments where the rules are not arbitrary and where the outcome is directly influenced by your own hands. You seek meaning through real-life engagement and deep ideas rather than the passive consumption of entertainment. You are playing a different game entirely. The tribalism of sports requires a black-and-white worldview. It demands that you hate the rival team simply because they wear a different color. This is the essence of the us versus them mentality. But your psychological makeup likely resists this binary thinking. You do not need an enemy to feel a sense of unity. You are highly skeptical of groupthink. When everyone else is moving in one direction, screaming the exact same chants, your instinct is to step back and observe. This independence of thought is incredibly valuable, but it is also why you often feel profound isolation. It is lonely to stand outside the stadium. It is lonely to be immune to the euphoria of the crowd. But you must stop viewing this isolation as a deficit. You must stop apologizing for your inability to care about the playoffs. The people around you are using sports as a mechanism to feel connection, reward, and purpose. That is entirely valid for them. It serves a deep psychological need. I am not saying one way of existing is inherently better, but I am saying that your way of existing, your refusal to outsource your identity to a sports franchise, grants you an extraordinary level of sovereignty. You are not easily manipulated by crowd dynamics. You do not experience wild, day-ruining mood swings based on the athletic performance of strangers. You maintain your emotional baseline regardless of what happens on a screen. That stability is rare. You have chosen depth over breadth. You have chosen personal responsibility over reflected glory. So the next time someone looks at you in disbelief because you do not know who won the championship, do not feel the need to shrink or defend yourself. Do not fake an interest you do not possess. Recognize that their disbelief is just the reaction of the tribe encountering an individual who no longer needs the tribe's illusions to survive. While others invest their emotional energy in outcomes they cannot control, you choose exactly where to place your care. That is not indifference. That is intentionality. And intentionality is the quiet superpower that changes everything. If this psychological breakdown resonated with the silent reality of your life, subscribe to the channel. You are not broken. You are not boring. You are simply highly selective with your emotional currency. Honor your independence. Build your reality. See you in the next protocol.